grinding. I'm going to remove our little chock here from the motor. Double check that we're clear of the diamond, that the coolant hoses aren't hitting anything. And then I'm going to be super slow as I bring it over to the blade. Clunk. Okay, right now my grinding wheel has touched the blade, so it's too low. It's written down here nice and handy. Up. This is a magnet to mark our location. Let me get it out of the way. I'm going to turn the wheel up. I know it's got to go a little ways. I'm going to test. Okay. Clear, clear. Okay, I'm now on top of the blade. It's not touching. I'm going to go down. Oh, tension came off of this wheel. That means the weight of the motor, the weight of the wheel is now resting on the blade. That's not how I want to start grinding. I want to start with it above. So I'm going to go up, maybe 10 index marks on this wheel. Then I'm going to go, oh, we're still touching. I need to go up some more. Okay, so now it's free. It's free on this side of the blade. And it's free on that side of the blade. So my grinding, and I know I just brought the wheel up, so now I really know it's not going to hit the diamond or the bearings on the end of the blades or anything like that. We've already checked our water, we've checked everything on the machine to make sure it's good to go, we've checked the switch position. So we're going to turn the machine on and make sure everything works. On. Okay. I'm listening and kind of feeling for vibration. It's normal. Yeah, it vibrates a little. I can put my finger down in here on the wheel itself and feel the wheel going by, and there's no out of balance to it. I've got lots of coolant. I've got a little white foamy there, which means it's got plenty of grind safe in it. I'm going to start going across the blade. Remember, our adjustments are rough at this point. Didn't touch the blade. I did not hear it. I'm going to come down 2 notches or so. Come back across. Did it touch? No. 2 more notches. Back across. Okay, I'm hearing it touch. I'm hearing it touch. And hopefully we can see this in the video. I'm going to come back across without making an adjustment. Okay? Right here the water is beating up on a polished surface. Right here you can see the water piling up instead of beating because we just scuffed up that surface. And I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but I'm going to point out where it's scuffed. It's scuffed from here, right here along this portion, which we can call the heel of the blade. And then starting here, I actually have cut marks that go from the back to the front. And we're going to confirm that. Gabro, can you hand me the black rag, please? Okay. If you ever doubt what you're seeing on the blade, you can dry it off. Make a nice big magic marker mark on there. Okay. And that will help us find out if we're actually seeing things correctly. So I'm going to bring it back across. Alright. So what we see, we did not touch this one at all. We touched this one mostly right here, a little bit on the front. So in essence, we're equally balanced front to back here. That's good. That means at this point, we're correct here. If we were only grinding here, we could back the jack down. If we were only grinding on the front, we would lift the jack up to balance that. However, we still need to contact this side of the blade equally. All right? Over on our tool rack, we got a soft hammer. I'm going to tap the back of the blade here, watching very carefully just for movement. All I want is to see a little bit of movement here. A little bit of movement. Bam. I'm going to bring the grinder back across. If I'm paranoid that I went a little too high, I can raise the wheel. So let's see what we got. It's touching. touching, touching. Okay, I heard it hit. All right. Now I've got scuff marks from here, all the way in, back in here, and then a couple marks all the way to the front. So I am perfect this way with a tiny tap here. Now we have even contact from this side to this side. We do have contact all the way from the front to the back here, so we probably could grind it as is, but to save us a little time and to maintain a consistent angle for the customer, I'm going to grab the T screwdriver over here and we're going to rock it back ever so slightly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go backwards about almost a half a turn. Then I'm going to go forwards an eighth of a turn. Now we're going to try going over it again. Contact, 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 contact. So what happened was I still went too far because I got a scuffy mark all on the front there and it sounded heavier. Because when you go this way, you raise the blade. So I'm going to go clockwise on the jack, which raises the jack, which lowers the blade. That's about an eighth of a crank. Alright, boom. Full coverage, full coverage, full coverage. This blade is now adjusted. It's been adjusted this way, it's been adjusted this way, and it's ready to grind. Put my tools away, get ready, make sure your music player has a good book going, and start working. Going back and forth here, listening for the amount of contact. That's very light. This is where I get my index, put it right here. That way I know, oh, exactly 2 notches on the wheel. Slide my marker over. That marker will tell me if it drifts down or drifts up. I move back across. Okay, I got a much more solid sound to that. Okay, I know the wheel's spinning this way, so I'm going to look down through here to see if sparks are coming off the wheel. I don't have sparks. I am not removing enough material. Another 2 notches here. Slide my marker over. Back across. Okay. I can hear it make good contact. I can see it's contacting almost the entire blade. I don't yet see sparks. I'm going to go take it another couple notches for just a little heavier grind. Okay, now that sound is telling me that I have a good amount of pressure on this blade. No sparks. That could be 2 things. One, the type of metal. Some blades just don't create as much sparks as the other ones. And depending on what the actual inlaid metal is will change the shape and size of those sparks. Also, my wheel could be clogged and dirty. So we're going to take the wheel over and dress it. Alright. I just dressed the wheel on the diamond. If anything, that will have ground off the wheel, so I'm not worried about hitting the blade too hard. Am I getting sparks? No. Should I lower the wheel a little bit? Yes. Couple notches. Hopefully you can hear that sound on the camera. That is a good sound, even though I don't see any sparks. I can kind of feel and hear that it's taking metal away. I'm going to adjust my little skirts there. The higher they are, the more you get water splashed around, but if they get low, they can get snagged on things. And And I can see the hone line is basically gone on that blade, which means we've cut some metal off. I'm going to come down another couple notches. You'll note I don't do that on every pass, but if it's cutting good, we can do it on every other or every third pass, depending on how fast we walk back and forth. For the consistent grind, you need your traverse speed to be consistent. Consistent is more important than the actual speed, and I find that a speed like this is the most productive, and I think that it has the least wear and tear on the equipment. You can hear that grind just got a little softer, which means we removed metal and can lower this a little bit more. I went 2 more notches. The blade was very, very hard. You might want to use 1 notch at a time or do more passes before lowering it. So we're controlling our speed, controlling our wheel height, and paying attention to how much we've ground off. I'm eyeballing it as every time, or almost every time I go by, I don't see nicks. The hone line, the real shiny part right where you cut, is missing. So I know I've cut into fresh metal, which means if there's no nicks in the blade, I'm already done. So this is what we call sparking out. If I'm done grinding, I'll make sure my marker is lined up with this little index mark, and then I'm going to spark out, which is the same thing but without lowering the blade. A good indicator that you're done sparking out is when there's no more sparks. If your blade isn't making very good sparks, then you're going to have to gauge when it's complete by the smoothness of the metal. And this is what I'm talking about right here. Okay? The more passes you do, the smoother this will get. And you can feel it with a fingernail. If your fingernail is catching on ridges, you're not done. It feels like you're rubbing a silk sheet maybe, then you're done. Unfortunately, we can't get it to feel like you're rubbing glass, but we can get pretty close. Depending on how well the blade is, the stone is dressed, depending on how fast you're going back and forth, it could take anywhere from a dozen passes to, say, 50 passes. It's also highly dependent on the condition of all the bearings in the system. The bearings in here, the bearings in here that it's rolling on, and the bearings on the ends of the bench, which allow the blade to vibrate minutely. If all the bearings are in good condition, you're looking at sparking out for maybe 30 seconds. If everything's all sloppy and old, and you maybe ran across a stone too quickly, then you could be doing this for several minutes before you get the result you want. Right now, this is the result I want. It really can't get any better. So I'm going to do it a few more times and call it good.